What is up, viewers? I've not much time because I started this recording a little bit late. Okay, there we go. We have another replay submission from Bondar, otherwise known previously as the Gang Boy. And right here, just having fun with a platoon of TOGs in a tier 6 match. Yeah. I recently bought the TOG myself. It's a tank that really is, it's unique. Let's put it at that. Part aircraft carrier, part battle cruiser, part, tank, I guess. I don't know if you can really call it a tank. Kind of moves super slow. It's more like a hot dog or something. I don't know. This thing. But I do like the TOG. I like playing it. Like I said, I recently acquired it myself. And it's you gotta have a sense of humor. You've gotta be willing to just enjoy the ride as slow as it is. So, right here, tier 6 match and 3 TOGs, like I said before. And it looks like, ooh, I need to increase that map size. But it is going to be an assault battle where the 3 TOGs are defending on Siegfried Line. Cromwell destroying a Covenanter. So, first kills, low tier stuff. I mean, tier 5 is kind of important, but overall, looks like it's going to be a pretty solid brawl. And hit point advantage, obviously, to Bondar's team. Again, oh wait, no, I did not notice 3 TOGs on the enemy team as well. So, War of the TOGs, I don't even know at this point. This is like Battleship. Just, oh, the TOG actually managing to bounce some rounds. So the TOG does have somewhat formidable armor when facing lower tiers. Tier 6, though, should be able to get through it no problem whatsoever. I certainly know a TOG does not have much trouble getting through itself. So the TOG, for those who do not know, has 171 penetration on its gun. For a tier 6, that is absolutely amazing, 121 pen. I mean, for the record, before the KV-1S got separated and nerfed, it had 175 pen, and that was like top tier for heavy tanks. There are some tank destroyers, especially the newer ones, that have much higher penetration, but the TOG certainly is no slouch with 171 pen, and I can't recall what its APCR rounds are. He's certainly not carrying too much, but 239 on the APCR round, so that's a lot of pen. That's enough to go up into tier 8 even and mess around. The TOG can't even get tier 8 though, because it is preferred matchmaking. The highest tier it can get on its own is tier 7, if I recall correctly. And it's just one of those vehicles. It might be slow, it might be big. You are a arty target if ever there was one, but you have a lot of hit points. 1400. You have as much hit points as a tier 7 tanks in a tier 6 vehicle. So right here, the other 2 TOGs in the city, and the Fury trying to get through it, still bouncing. For the record, the Easy 8, not the highest penetration gun. It's actually quite a hard tank to play, especially since it's one of those older vehicles. The Fury itself not being old, but the Easy 8 certainly being an older vehicle in the game. And a lot of the older vehicles tend to get ignored. A lot of the newer vehicles you see getting introduced have a lot more penetrating guns, a lot more bang for their buck. So the older vehicles tend to get a little more obsolete and a little overmatched by the newer vehicles introduced. Right here, AT8 gonna get some shots off. Still 4-4 for the teams, pretty even. A slight lead for the enemy team right now, but this AT8 certainly in a world of hurt as this TOG just takes a field day on it. So as you'll notice, the TOG, another thing it has going for it besides a great penetrating gun is a high rate of fire. Its average damage, not that great. If I recall correctly, it's only 150, but you fire every 4 something seconds. If the game would actually stop it. There we go. Yes, 150. The Fury finally dying, and looks like Bondar certainly feeling the hurt at this point. He's only got 369 of his 1400 hit points left. The enemy team no longer hanging on to their advantage, and both of his allies are still alive. Artillery finally taking notice of a TOG out in the open. If ever there was a sign saying, please shoot me, that is it. And the artillery just being slow on the take. I don't know what it thought was more important than a tier 6 TOG. A TOG part of a platoon in a tier 6 battle. I mean, just so much hit points, so much XP right there, so juicy, and yet the enemy artillery just taking that long to realize the great opportunity in front of it. Enemy TOG and a world of hurt, looking like he will get taken out very quickly, just caught out in the open. That's the thing about the TOG. I know I said in the previous commentary that the 1390 and autoloaders in general, very unforgiving, but at least you can get away if you find yourself in a bad spot. The TOG you drive in a bad spot, not only is it an unforgiving tank because its armor isn't super great, it can bounce some things, but just the fact of the matter is if you get caught out in a bad spot, you cannot retreat. You do not have the speed to retreat. You gotta sit there and take it like a man and, you know, hope your team might save you or the enemy team gets bored of beating your corpse. I don't know. But the enemy team certainly getting what's for 2-2 and 2 doesn't look like brothers in arms is going to happen, as that requires 3 for each teammate. His teammates still looking like they're doing very well for themselves, but 2-2 and 3, only 2 enemy vehicles left, which means Danny there and Bondar both have to get a kill in order to get brothers in arms, and I just don't see it happening. However, the enemy team certainly on the run at this point. It looks like that tier 6 British, certainly the S-35, sitting somewhere, hiding in the back of his base. Maybe he's AFK. I don't know. His team certainly could have used his help. That, for the record, that vehicle is no slouch. It has quite a its gun hurts a lot. Let's just leave it at that. And there it is. So definitely not sitting at base quite. Certainly trying to get some cross shots, but he's going to die very quickly here. It's a glass cannon, as many vehicles in the game these days are. And just barely hanging on to dear life. The Su-85 managing to get that kill, and brothers in arms definitely out of the question now. Still, they can't even get crucial contribution. That's 12 or more kills between a platoon. The TOG, it's one of those vehicles that it's frustrating because you really can't get into the fight until about halfway through the match, or unless the enemy comes to fight you. But it's frustrating because you see your team dying around you a lot of the time, and you can't do anything about it because you can't get to them to save them. And right now, a little bit of a foreign language. I'm not quite sure which one that is. That looks like, I want to say Spanish, possibly, or French. It's one or the other. Or maybe it's Portuguese. I don't know. There we go. That arty. I don't know what type of arty that is. That's British, maybe? Ammo rack, there we go, for Kostin, and very solidly played. I mean, Bondar, he played the TOG. Oh, I mean, like I said, I was kind of surprised he didn't get artied more, considering the openness of his position. But, I mean, let's go to the post-game stats and judge just how well he did. I know he got a lot of shots off. I'm not quite sure exactly how much damage he ended up dealing. Well, it seems I stand corrected. He got high caliber. He did a lot of damage and even managed to get steel wall due to all the shots he took. So, and earning mastery badge first class in the process because of it. Total damage dealt over 2,300, 1 point away from 2,400. His fellow teammate doing just the second amount, and Danny Boy not quite getting up to par, but still within the top 5. Very well done. And a TOG, it's one of those vehicles, it's like a mouse. It's hard to do your tank's hit points and damage a lot of the time because you really are just a slow-moving big target and everyone shoots you, and your job is more to absorb the shells from the enemy team than to dish out damage. However, the one thing the TOG has going for it that the mouse doesn't is it has a good DPM gun with a good penetration. So overall, it performs, in my opinion, better in its own tier than the mouse performs in its own tier. And so maybe the mouse needs a little bit of a buff. Maybe, I'm not quite sure what it needs, but it certainly needs something because there's a reason you really don't see them in pub matches that often anymore. And that's because it's not that great of a tank. The TOG, on the other hand, you see it from time to time, especially because it is a fun tank to play. It's good for earning credits, even without premium, still earning a decent amount. And total of 23 shots taken, we know the amount of damage, 19 hits and pens. And overall, just very well played. Would have earned over 1,800 experience should he have been playing on a premium account, but still very, very well done. I wanted to bring you guys something a little bit different after all those fast and loose matches, the ones where you're driving out all over the map. I wanted to see something a little bit slower, a little bit of a more methodical pace, if you want to term it nicely. And overall, it was a solid game. It wasn't the most action-packed game, but what do you expect from a TOG? You've got to be, in a TOG, you got to be unafraid to drive yourself right into the enemy lines as long as you have team support, and which is why if you play a TOG, you probably want a platoon. and with your team, with some buddies, and TOGs. Have a platoon of 3 TOGs, and at that point you can really carry almost any match as long as you play together and go on a front together, because your DPM combined with your hit points and occasional armor bounces, because your armor's not super terrible, it will bounce shells occasionally. It means you can pretty much take almost any flank as long as you all have the wits about you to play effectively in your vehicles. But anyway, if you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you got a replay, be sure to send it to spanglereplays@gmail.com. But instructions on how to do that exactly are in the description below. And if you got suggestions or comments on how I can make my videos or channel better, please put those in the comment section below as well. But until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.